In this video, I'll reveal 5 disturbing signs you're being emotionally abused by a woman. Signs that many men miss until it's too late. And I'm not talking about the obvious red flags. These are silent psychological tactics that chip away at your confidence and identity. Jessica Owes here. Welcome back to the channel. Let's jump right in, shall we? Sign number 1. You always feel like you're walking on eggshells. Now, this is one of the clearest signs of emotional abuse, yet it's also one of the easiest to rationalize or overlook. You find yourself constantly calculating how she might react before you say anything at all. You rehearse the texts, you second guess even innocent jokes. You avoid certain topics altogether, not because they're inappropriate, but because you know she'll somehow twist them into an argument of some sort. Now, at first, it might seem like you're just keeping the peace, right? But over time, you realize that you're no longer yourself around her. You're a filtered, muted version of yourself and who you used to be. And the sad part is, you probably don't even realize it's happening until you catch yourself doing it with another person too. Her moods pretty much control the room. If she's in a bad mood, you feel like you have to fix it. If she's distant, you panic and wonder what you did wrong, even if you did absolutely nothing. That emotional tightrope you're walking is not love, it's control. And she's trained you to believe that your behavior determines her reaction. That is a trap. That's how she gets you to bend, shrink, and eventually disappear in your own relationship just to avoid setting her off. Look, this is not a normal rough patch. This is psychological submission disguised as love. Healthy relationships don't feel like landmines. If you have to mentally brace yourself every time you speak, text, or show up, you're not in a relationship, you're in a psychological cage. Sign number 2, she gaslights you constantly. So gaslighting is psychological abuse in the most cunning form. It's when she makes you question your reality, your memory, and eventually your sanity. Let's say you bring up something hurtful that she said, okay? Maybe she flirted with some other guy in front of you or insulted you in a way that cut deep. You try to talk about it calmly and her response is, "Well, that never happened. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. I was just joking. Don't be so emotional." And just like that, you become the problem. Over time, you start wondering if maybe she's right. You replay the moment in your head asking yourself, wait, am I really being too sensitive here? You begin to suppress your instincts and invalidate your own emotions because she's trained you to doubt yourself. And it doesn't stop there. She might blame you for her lies, accuse you of cheating, convince you that your suspicions of her are absolutely crazy. The more confused you are, the more power she gets. That's the whole game. Gaslighting is designed to make you emotionally dependent on her version of reality because if you can't trust your own judgment, you'll always come back to hers. And that's how she keeps control. Listen, I have a whole video that I did on gaslighting where I give you 6 quick ways to recognize gaslighting and what to do about it. Perhaps you should watch this video right after the one you're currently watching. I'll leave a link to that video in this video's description. Sign number 3, your confidence has tanked since you met her. Now think back to who you were before this relationship. Were you more confident, more sure of yourself? Did you feel respected, valued, at peace with who you are? Now ask yourself, what happened? Emotional abuses don't destroy you overnight. It's a slow erosion, a drip of criticism, comparison, subtle jabs that eventually eat away at your self-worth. She might say things like, why can't you be more like so-and-so? Or you're not as ambitious as other guys I know, or you used to be attractive, what happened? But she'll smile while saying it, maybe even laugh. Oh, I'm just teasing, she'll claim. But deep down it cuts, and that's the point. Suddenly, you're working harder to earn her approval. You're trying to be who she wants. More fit, more successful, more whatever she says she likes. You're not improving for you. No, not anymore. You're desperately adjusting to avoid being discarded by her. And the worst part, no matter what you do, it's never enough. And that's by design. Emotional abusers move the goalposts constantly because their power comes from your insecurity. Remember that. If you feel small, she feels in control. Healthy love builds you up. Emotional abuse shrinks you down until you forget you were ever tall. to begin with. Sign number 4, she uses affection as a weapon. This one's subtle, but powerful. In a healthy relationship, affection is consistent, safe, and freely given. But with her, it's conditional, strategic, weaponized. When you do something she likes, she suddenly becomes warm, loving, even sexually available, right? But the second you set a boundary, express your frustration, or ask for accountability, she pulls the plug. You get the cold shoulder, the silent treatment. She withholds touch, affection, attention, even basic kindness. And over time, this will train you like a little puppy. You start chasing her approval, doing whatever you think will earn her love back. You become hyper-focused on her mood and lose connection with your own needs, the things that matter to you. And get this, she never says it out loud. She just withholds. You see, this isn't about love or connection. It's behavioral conditioning. She's using her affection to manipulate your behavior, rewarding you when you comply, punishing you when you don't. It's not romance, it's control, and it messes with your head. You start associating love with performance. You think, well, if I just do better, she'll love me again. But the truth is, the love isn't real. It's a tool and you're being played. Real intimacy doesn't come and go depending on how obedient you are. If she only shows love when you're being good, you're not her partner, you're her puppet. Sign number 5, she makes you feel guilty for everything. In emotionally abusive dynamics, guilt becomes the go-to weapon, and she'll use it with surgical precision. If she's upset, it's your fault. If she lashes out, you must have provoked her. If she cheats, it's because you weren't giving her enough attention. Somehow, no matter what happens, you end up apologizing, even when she's the one who crossed the line. She spins every situation, so you're the one carrying the emotional burden and blame. You'll hear things like, well, if you really loved me, you'll do this for me. I can't believe you're making me feel like this, right? You're so selfish. Everything's always about you. At first, you might defend yourself, but over time it wears you down. You get tired of arguing, you start taking the blame just to avoid conflict, etc., etc. And eventually, you believe it. You carry guilt around like it's your identity. And she knows this because the more guilt you feel, the more compliant you'll become. Guilt becomes the leash she tugs every time you try to stand up for yourself. Healthy love doesn't require you to be perfect. It doesn't make you feel like a villain in your own relationship. Remember that. If you constantly feel like you're the problem, especially when you're the one being hurt, it's not because you are flawed, it's because you're being manipulated. Emotional abuse isn't just about how someone talks to you. Sometimes it's how they make you feel about yourself. And if you've been made to feel guilty, ashamed, or even unworthy for simply existing, that's not love. It's control dressed up as care. Guys, emotional abuse doesn't always leave bruises, but it will leave scars on your confidence, your mental health, and your sense of self-worth. If these signs feel familiar, don't ignore them. It isn't just a toxic relationship, it's emotional warfare. And the first step to healing is recognizing that, no, you're not crazy, you're just being controlled. So what can you do if you recognize these signs? I mean, if this video is hitting too close to home, I want you to know that you're not weak. You're not stupid. You're not less of a man for ending up here. Emotional abuse is calculated, manipulative, and often invisible until you're already deep in it. But here's the truth. You can take back your power. I'll share quick ways with you. Number 1, name it, okay? Start by acknowledging that what you're experiencing is actually emotional abuse. Now, because you're a guy, you're more likely to just shelve the idea. But once you label it, you stop minimizing it. You stop making excuses for her behavior. You stop blaming yourself. Number 2, document the patterns. Look, keep a private record of specific incidents, what she said, how she made you feel, how she responded when you brought it up. Now, this isn't just for clarity, it's for your sanity. Seeing that pattern in black and white helps break down the illusion that maybe it's not that bad. Number 3, set boundaries and enforce them. Don't just say what you won't tolerate. You need to act on them. If she disrespects a boundary, there must be a consequence. If you say, I won't accept name calling, and she calls you names again, the conversation must end. You walk away, You detach emotionally. And that's very important because consistency is everything. And number 4, rebuild your support system. Now, this is so important. Emotional abusers isolate their partners for a reason. Start connecting, reconnecting with people who remind you of your worth, friends, family, mentors, support groups. You need voices that affirm your reality and not twist it. And finally, you want to get professional help. These dynamics are complex, and breaking free mentally can be just as hard, if not harder, than walking away physically. That's why working with someone who understands these emotional traps, the guilt loops, the identity confusion, can make a world of difference. If you see yourself in any of these signs, okay, and you're ready to reclaim your peace, your power, your sense of self, maybe you didn't know this, but I offer one-on-one coaching sessions specifically for men going through relationship challenges. You don't have to figure out anything on your own. So why don't you book a session with me and let's walk through this together. I'll leave a link to book that private call with me below in this video. Jessica OS here. Hope you found this video beneficial. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll be catching you in the next one. Cheers.